Hello, Reckoning 7 and welcome back to Combat Mission Battle for Normandy. We are in the final throes of this community-made scenario, the 130th Panzer Regiment Advance. So yeah, the tail end of a 2.5 hour scenario, and things have not gone necessarily as we would have liked them to. The last couple of episodes we have been focusing on this large flank round the side to try and take out this American armoured position, and that was less than successful, I think is a fair way of saying it. We did encounter fairly stiff resistance in the form of the American infantry company, which we did deal with, but it chewed up a little bit of time. And then when we finally got in position to execute a strike on these Shermans, we fluffed it, I suppose is the best way of putting it. Our Panzer Grenadier team, our Panzer Strike team here, has missed with all their shots. I think we've fired 3 or 4 in the end, I can't quite remember. And then to compound matters, when our Panzer IV came up into the rear of the American position, he fluffed his shot and the American vehicle turned around and responded and took him out. So not the greatest ambush we've ever attempted to undertake. To compound matters, as you can see on the right hand side of the screen here, our last remaining tank up this neck of the woods. He was obviously attempting to get in a position of American rear. Unfortunately, he did get spotted by there's an American tank away in the distance over there, and they have fired around us. And we'll see how it goes, but there's a good chance as we start this minute that he is about to be taken out, which will be our last tank in this area, which will kind of end our armoured threat. We've got a couple other Panzer IVs on the map, but not in any particularly great situations. So with that out of the way, what then is the plan? So time is running out, and we'll have to come back to accept the fact we're not going to be able to completely roll up the Americans here. So we've got to say, well, what is really the main objective that we're trying to achieve, and that is obviously securing a way across the river. And although we have taken both ends of the tributary, we have not secured the middle section, and that's obviously got the all-important road bridge. So my focus for this one is going to be to try and drive the Americans back from this central position. It was also our main objective in clearing out this side of the river, and that's what we're going to focus on. So we're going to continue to use our Panzer Strike teams up here to try and inflict casualties upon American armour, and if our Panzer IV survives, he will join in. The main thrust here is actually going to be to, and we've done it already with 2 of them, get these guys to pull back from their existing position, which was on the crest of this hill, which could potentially have been used to fire upon our forces pushing in towards the centre. So we've already driven well, it looks like just one of the tanks back, maybe the second one as well. So as long as we can keep them kind of entertained and occupied, then they're not going to be inflicting any casualties on our troops as they kind of come across this field. That's the first plan, and likewise, any American infantry down here, we're going to hopefully get some enfilading fire on them. Again, just to reduce their effectiveness in supporting that central position. Now, we aren't going to be able to do this with all the American armour. We know there's one Sherman here, and 2 M10s here that are going to have, unfortunately, a bit of a free rein, and there's not a huge amount we can do about that. To assist us, we do have a mortar strike on the way. So we've got 80-something rounds left, 96 rounds left, I should say. And they're in the spotting phase, so we're going to get our infantry in position, dump everything we've got, and then it's going to be a big infantry push and accepting those casualties. Hopefully we can at least secure this side of the river, and we'll call that a tactical victory. So not a great outcome, but it will be at least securing some kind of victory. But we shall see. I do get the feeling that if this goes poorly and we can suffer high casualties and don't secure the position, then there's a very chance we're going to come out this at the wrong end of an American victory. I think we'll kick around for this. We'll keep you for this first minute, just see if our old Panzer IV here survives or not. Otherwise, I will probably we'll do that. I can talk about it when it's going on. So I would like to try and get through the rest of the time in this one video. I don't feel of us need to drag it out. Oh, that was a miss. That's good. Right, now run away. So we've still got 1 Panzer we can play around with. Excellent. We are going to probably tweak these Panzer Strike teams. I'm going to maybe see if I can try and sneak some up this roadway. Again, to see what positions we can get on those 3 tanks, who seem to be fairly unsupported from infantry. And apart from that, yeah, we're trying to sneak what was left of our first infantry across this field here. Always going to be a bit of a bold proposal. I wanted to see how far they get and where the fire comes from. I'll go back and kind of review that in detail. But yeah, the mainstay is going to be, I'll probably put some cuts in while we wait for the artillery to kind of come in and start inflicting damage. If we get into a good position in terms of these little tank duels, obviously bring you back for that. Otherwise it might be a bit of a gap until we get the mainstay of that infantry push. Now we'll go back and review exactly where these guys are drawing fire from. We have seen the Americans pushing 40. It's very interesting actually. They have decided to come and try and cross the river here. That's okay. If they want to waste their forces doing that, I am more than happy to let them. Excellent. Okay, good. So that's it. So expect me to come back. I'll probably bring out a few minutes once we've got the main artillery mortar barrage falling, to where we've got to. Aside from that, it might be a few minutes before we come back. So I'll catch you then. Okay, we're a few minutes down the line. Still waiting for our spotting rounds to land in earnest. We've seen a few land kind of in around this field area, not quite on target, but still being directed in. We have seen a few American air attacks. It's now 8:30 in the morning. The light has come up, so we can see what they're doing. They dropped a couple of bombs, took out one of the dismounted half-tracks over in this direction. There was also a few craters near some of the Panzer forwards, but no direct hits. However, I was starting to mass up these troops, which have been spending most of the battle just hanging about here, and I had two squads just kind of walking over top of each other, one holding position, one moving further on, essentially at the worst time possible, as some more American flyboys came in and absolutely rinsed them. So 5 dead Germans, and frankly, I probably consider myself lucky that 5 was all the casualties we took, but that was a sore one. But it's certainly becoming more prevalent with a few drop bombs, a few strafes. But that was the only time we've really inflicted kind of serious damage. Apart from that, it's been a lot of near misses. And aside from things, we're just kind of continuing to bring our forces in. I'm going to look to maybe see if there's room to kind of sneak one of our panzers in here to support this central position. Probably not very likely. You can see I've brought the 2 panzers from the left flank down to the centre. They're going to support that position. But really, we're kind of waiting on these mortar rounds to land and be ready for the off. So that's kind of what's driving our timeline. Anyway, I just wanted to come and show that air impacts. The other one, I can show you actually quickly. It was over here. See, a couple of bombs dropped. Took out this half track. I inflicted 2 casualties. So nothing too serious. Given that I'm not really using, I don't have much of a need for a lot more of these half tracks at the minute, but I suppose losses are never good. Okay, cool. Well, I'll see it. We'll wait for these mortar rounds to strike, and then hopefully we'll come back fully off. Or if I get lucky and engage in some tank combat, I'll bring you back for that. Okay, we're actually just in the next minute, because take 2 of sneak behind the American tank positions is just kind of coming into effect. So I have seen about 15 seconds in the future, but I haven't seen exactly how it ends. See, we came up similar position, not quite as far, and he does very quickly make the spot and gets a shot away. Which initially I thought was a good shot, but as you can see, no hit marker. And the reason there's no hit marker, vaguely humorous, although I hope it doesn't come back to bites in the bum, is obviously he's aiming at the first tank, and what he actually does is hit this one instead. No, that one definitely has a large hole in it. His second shot must hit this one. Why, I wonder? Yeah, look. Okay, no, first hit definitely hits that one. We can come out and see everyone in our army sees. I wonder if I have inadvertently turned off the hit notifications, because I've done that before to much confusion. Hang on a minute. All this stuff you shouldn't do on camera. What is it again? Show vehicle hit text Alt H. Maybe I've inadvertently turned that off. Hit text on. How on earth do I keep doing that? Right. I was so confused. There we go. Okay, that's great. Actually, this is turning out much better than I thought. I wondered what was going on there. Okay, so you do then spot the second, adjust slightly, and get another good round away. Wow. Okay, this is what we were supposed to happen the first time round. It failed spectacularly, and presumably that is 2 out of action tanks. So they've bailed. And these guys, yeah, they've bailed as well. Brilliant. So there's only one of his 3 central tanks left. Perfect. Okay. This is good. Now we've got to watch out for these M10s on our right. Make sure we don't show ourselves to them. But we do also have a couple of sneaky boy teams. Although they could actually end up getting gunned down by tank crew here, so we might support that. Okay. While I've not been paying attention, looks like we've also managed to put around in this guy. Okay, well let's have a go check that out. Oh, lots of stuff happening. It's been a very advantageous moment while I spin the camera around. So, as again, we talked about bringing these guys forward to support the infantry push, and I'm guessing, looks like he's got the first shot off. It's hit the tree. We'll go back 5 seconds. We can see what goes on. No, we have made the spot there. I won't ask what that was. Yeah, his round's intercepted by the trees. Like 3 of them getting... I mean, we got pretty lucky there. He fired a lot of shells at us. But that front turret hit and penetration, so that's going to be another Sherman. So that's 3 Shermans we've taken out in that turn there. That's phenomenal. So all they have left in armour is this 1 Sherman and these 2 M10s. Ooh, and this guy. They've not killed him yet. Don't get ahead of yourself, for record. But that does change the dynamic slightly. You can also see our mortars are coming out. Oh, they seem to be. Presuming they're ours, slightly off target. Let's yeah, let's just quickly jump to command phase. Just check what you are doing. Firing. That's this is poor. So as well as this tank combat gone, this is problematic. Because if we don't soften up these positions, 2 things. 1, it's not going to allow us to close the distance while these guys have got their heads down. And secondly, it's not going to inflict all these infantry casualties we're after to try and soften these guys up. Okay, we'll have to see how that goes. Meanwhile, you see we're starting to try and have mass forces in a few places. But this is good. Okay, so we'll push on him. I think this guy is probably going to do quite a wide break and see if we can't clear out these M10s. We'll leave this guy to the Panzer teams. I'll have to bring some infantry to support them to make sure the crew don't deal any damage. Because if we can clear out these M10s and this guy, then that should give some range in our tanks to support this final thrust. We don't have a lot of time, it's only concern. So we'll have to see how we get on there. Also, if we take out this guy, we can continue down the road with our half-tracks and our armoured car. Not that he has much ammo left. I have tasked this guy, he's not quite in position yet, just to fire down this road with his machine gun, because we've seen a lot of instances of American infantry stacked up against these hedges. So even though I can't see him, let's just spray and we might inflict some casualties. Groovy. Alright, okay, I'll do that. I'm going to pull him off, get him to swing round, see if we can get him behind these tank destroyers. Meanwhile, we'll see what we can get done with our remaining Panzer strike teams. So, turns out not everything is going to go my way, and the 2 Panzers which we brought down to support the kind of infantry thrust have brought the attention of some of the Americans, despite the significant difficulties you might think in seeing each other. The Americans are proving experts at spotting through trees. I'm sounding grumpy. I shouldn't do that. Anyway, this guy started at the tail end of the last minute, flicked a shot out towards our Panzer there. Let me zoom in. Yeah. somewhere there made the spot. No, in fact, it's this one. Sorry, it's the left-hand one. That one. Well, there you go. Apparently, saw the gun. Oh well, these are the way it works. Anyway, so he flicked the shot out, and then this time round, gets off another one, takes him out. At the same time, our second Panzer there, he gets taken out by a front shot, which I'm not 100% worked out where it came from. I suspect it's one of the M10s, but not. I've lost the kind of sight on these guys, and I couldn't tell by going back to look at it. But that is 2 dead Panzers, which is incredibly frustrating. This guy has been the bane of my life with his spotting ability, but there we go. The mortars are just about finished. I don't think they were particularly effective. I think they caused more casualties on my kind of front troops than they have on the Americans. Yeah, it's going to be a painful infantry push across to try and... No, it looks like there's some American infantry there, to try and dig them out of this crossing. Especially as we're going to have you essentially unsupported. Although, it looks like you survived. No radar, no optics. That may have been... Was that really a... Was that a bazooka round? Surely not. Let's see if I can quickly have a look and spot it. Yeah, he's not seen anything. No, can't really... No, it definitely looks like a round the way that flashed out. Ah, I tell you what it is. I know exactly what it is. It's the AT gun that's hiding in here. Which we did know about, obviously. I can't remember exactly where it's positioned. Might be here. Yeah. Let's maybe slip further back. Anyway, okay, so he's clearly made the spot through the trees. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I'll have to take that one on my chin. What's that? Oh, yeah, there's that one. Sad times. So, as much as we had a glorious minute before, not so much here. Pleased to say that the dismounting cruise made no impact on our Panzerschreck teams. In fact, our Panzerschreck chap at the front actually pulled out his pistol and gunned one down. So I need to stop double clicking. And we've had one run off over here, and the second one run off down, team run off down the lane, which should clear the way for our remaining teams to make a push on this chap. And we are doing that. So just come up through the wheat field, try and get in behind them. We've also got this Panzer obviously relocating to take on the M10s. At the same time, he's going to get a reasonable view from the top of this hill onto this final position, so we might try and take that shot as well. I think that might have been shots at these guys. Nope. That was our Panzerschreck man. Well, you've got one round left. Got 2 shots you just had there. No, it was just the one. Fluffed your first round. Okay. But we've got a guy coming with a lot more ammo. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, what kind of range are we talking about here? $155. I mean, it's difficult, but not unmanageable. 100's kind of where I expect them to make the shot. I'll have you to advance a little bit further, kind of sneak up behind that dead Sherman, and we'll see if you get lucky with your remaining shot. The flyboys have continued to harass my troops, and I'm picking up casualties left, right and centre. Not huge amounts I can do about that. They came and mauled these guys as well. Just going to have to accept that. So we're at the 17-minute mark. I think we're going to have to try and yeah, push things in a little bit. Unsupported by Panzers on this flank. So it's just going to be a case of advancing infantry. As you can see, we are kind of starting to push up, trying to take a position on this hedgerow. So I'll probably be another couple minutes before we have to make our attack in earnest. I'll come back if we get some more excitement on this tank front. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2 for when we try and somehow put the squeeze in these positions. Okay, we're at the 15-minute mark. This is when we're starting to put a little bit more pressure on the centre. And again, we're also trying to pick off the final Sherman on this side. And also you can see the number of Panzer strike teams kind of snaking their way through the grass. And also, if you've seen there, we had our Panzer IV come up to the side, take a position on the flank. The kind of plan here, and it did work, was essentially these guys, who were taking pot shots, but generally being pretty ineffective, keep this guy busy and focused, so that as our Panzer IV comes over the hill, he's got a clear shot, and indeed takes it without response. In fact, he's still firing at my infantry. So it's good, and in fact, it hits him a number of times. So we've now limited this entire M3 section. We've still got the M10s to worry about, and that final M4. But this is a good, it opens up less fire on our troops kind of crossing the field in front of us. They're still having a rough time with it, let's be honest. This is not great areas pushing across. We're taking the odd casualty, to be expected. Also, this guy is still kicking around. The one we penetrate the front, I'm assuming his main gun doesn't work, but he may still be a hard point for machine gun. Things to mention. Yes, the American air is still causing me problems. You can see I have found a way to snake in a couple of Panzers. They're not in a great position yet. I would like to bring them up to the centre, but that will rely on us taking care of an M10, of the two M10s I should say. And I was bringing in one of the trucked in infantry squads to support when he unfortunately caught the attention of an aircraft. Thankfully, I've only taken a slight injury in the team. I was expecting a lot worse when it came to look at the truck's knackered, but these guys can continue on foot. But that's not too bad. Yeah, we're continuing to push in here. It looks like we're about to drop a whole bunch of artillery, so we don't want to be here. And we're just taking pot shots at Americans as we push across. But there's not a huge amount we can do that. Our mortar barrage that was supposed to suppress them and inflict casualties upon them has been woefully ineffective. We're limited in the armour support we can bring. On this flank, things are more promising. You can see this bar has been a bit in my side for a long time, and they finally got him there. But you can see the resources I've had to bring forward in numerous phases just to get him pinned down, suppress them, and finally kill him. And that should allow us now to sweep along here a little bit more. Ideally set up a heavy machine gun in the back here and kind of take ownership of this little segment. So that's where we are. We're also bringing forward a first set of troops to try and maybe threaten across the bridge. So again, the plan here is just trying to push from as many fronts at the same time as we can, and hopefully kind of find some kind of way in. It's going to be bloody, but I'll take it. Grand. So the plan with this guy is now going to be reposition him to try and, even if we don't take out, to keep the M10s busy, and that might allow me to bring my other Panzer forces forward into bear and kind of crush these guys in the final 10 minutes. Feeling okay about it. Not really happy with the kind of number of casualties, not these guys, but these squads are starting to take, but it was always going to happen when we didn't clear our way. The best I can hope for is we, sacrifice one squad to get two across, and that's enough to make the difference. And meanwhile, we kind of close in the noose from other sides. I don't really like these kind of all-out bloody infantry assaults. It's not generally a place that I go for, but desperate times call for desperate measures. So there we go. Yeah, so I'll bring you back maybe either when we're engaging the M10s or when we're a few more minutes in and we've managed to either establish a foothold or get ourselves shot to pieces. So we have gone essentially no further, where yet again I fall foul of considering a frontal turret penetration to be at least a mission kill. And this central M4, after having taken care of these M4s on our right flank, spots our Panzer IV and pops them in the upper right hull. Thankfully, only damages our machine guns, doesn't take out any crew, doesn't take out the main gun. And as you see, we return in earnest and penetrate the upper left hull, and he drives away. But that a bit of a lucky escape there. I genuinely thought that he was at least kind of main gun out of action after our earlier hit, but I suppose it goes to show we had a turret penetration there and all we lost was the machine guns. They kind of... Interesting, I'm surprised he doesn't take another shot, given that he has a spot of this weapon and and his main gun works. Optics all work And it chooses not to fire a second round. Slightly surprising, and then loses him as he approaches the edge of this wood. We do have, it's just a, oh, it's an actual anti-tank team. We could potentially try and scooch an anti-tank team up towards him. There's probably a lot of American infantry around here, but it might be worth a shot. Yeah, feeling that we're starting to push in on the centre. Oh, hello. It turns out that some Americans have crossed over and are sitting on this bank, which is a an odd state of affairs. A very odd state of affairs. Yeah, you guys, I knew you were going to have a bad time of it, to be expected. And yes, and do you know what I'm going to bring it back for this. We've come round using this river as cover, and we should be able to, yes, we've used the river to get in position. There's a bit of a hill between us and the M10 positions, and we've just popped up enough to start engaging some of the American positions. This guy's probably too close, to be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if he takes the odd bazooka. But we're starting to also put in a lot of fire, which is going to really help out the troops that are pushing in from his left-hand flank. Yeah, that's this is exactly what we wanted about our armoured support, and should allow us to bring a bunch of troops up to here without taking the massive casualties that we were seeing. Excellent, excellent, that's really good to see. Okay, this time I will try and duck away for a couple of minutes to hopefully come back when we are closing Manus, or when our beleaguered Panzer IV gets positioned to engage his next victim. And I'll catch you then. Okay, we are 3 minutes further down the road, and our beleaguered infantry finally made it across this kind of killing field, these wheat fields, to start building up position on the American flank. And to be honest, the only reason we've really managed to do this has been because of his supporting power of these two panzers. Not only have been inflicting injuries upon the American position, these kind of heavily entrenched defences, but also actually just by firing lots of shells in here, they kick up loads of dust. And so the guys in the trenches, even if they're not being killed or suppressed, can't see anything to shoot at my infantry walking across the field. So that has been key in allowing us to build up a position. There have also been a few units that seem to have cut and run, which is positive, it's good. Just have to make sure that they get far enough out of the objective zone so that they don't spoil our points at the end of it, but looking a lot more promising. I've noticed a bunch of infantry on this bank, which we'll have to clear out. I presume that's not part of the objective, but we'll look to clear that out. It's definitely secondary. If we can secure a toehold here, easy enough to clear them out by putting a unit on this hedgerow, but can't really do that until we clear its position. This flank's definitely a harder one. There's a kind of a ridge here, as you can see, we'll have to come over the top of, and it's pretty slow going to try and get over that without getting my guys killed. So having to fan out an open ground, which doesn't feel great, but I need to have multiple units kind of advancing in parallel, so that if one starts taking fire and goes to ground, the other two can then try and suppress the enemy. It's been okay, slow, a few casualties, but we're getting progress. Meanwhile, on the armoured front, our chap here has moved around to this position just over the ridge from the M10s, but those are not our objective. Instead, we are gunning for this final operational M4. I say that with some quotation marks because we're assuming this guy's gun doesn't work, but well, we know what happened last time. But anyway, we want to take care of him just in case he gets any eyes on the Panzer IVs we've got down the riverfront. So he's about to hunt forward and should get sight of him before getting anywhere close to these two M10s. And speaking of those guys, we've got a slight, not a change of plan, but a backup plan. I'm getting one of these half-tracks to come pick up some of our Panzerschreck teams, to come all the way up here and to put some guys against this hedgerow. And I think that's how I'm going to try and tackle those M10s, because we could definitely try and flank them with a Panzer, but they tend to have pretty good spotting, and there's two of them, so I'm not that confident with my odds. But anyway, since we're here, why don't we sit with our Panzer friend, hit the big red button, and see if we can make the spot, and hopefully kill. He's been pretty good at spotting thus far. There we go. Excellent. Now you're shooting. Ooh, nice. Side on. Penetration hit. Lovely. And we lose them in the smoke. Excellent. Has anyone else got eyes? Do they bail? And they've bailed. One dead tank. Excellent. Now, unfortunately, we don't have much time left on the clock, but that's exactly what we wanted to do. So what I might do with this... in fact, well, since we're watching live action, we'll go down and see how the guys are getting on down here. Though there's not that many American targets we can identify. There's still going to be guys in and among these trenches. We're just slowly kind of bringing some machine guns to bear. I would like to actually have got this Panzer IV up into this position. It's a bit of a ridge line you can kind of come and dominate. But I am worried that's in view of the M10s, so I've not done that so far. That seems to be going relatively well. I've taken a lot of casualties in infantry, more than I really should, but hey ho. And here there's not much going on in terms of this infantry, and you see we're taking machine gun fire from further down the road. Yeah, but inconsequential. Good, okay. Right, so then the plan, yeah, I'll pick up these Panzer Schreck teams, I'll move them over, and then I'll maybe come back in a couple minutes if and when we kind of are seeing our final push in on this centre position. But all in all, it's going well. I think we can definitely clear out this centre piece. I don't know how much we'll get of anything else. If you look at the actual objectives themselves, so I think we can get the 3 stitches, and we might even be able to get this sterile too. So it looks to only come down to potentially about here. It's hard exactly to see the edge of it, but we might be able to push any Americans out the end of there, and then we'll claim 3 out of the 4 objectives, which will be good and a lot better than I thought it was going to be when we had about 25 minutes on the clock. Okay, grand. Well, I'll cut back in a couple minutes. Okay, so we're down to the final 3 minutes, so I thought it'd be a good time to check on back in. So as discussed, I did bring a couple of my Panzer Schreck teams up here to try and worry these M10s. To date, these teams have not been that effective. This chap suffers from the standard pixel-driven blindness. These guys make a spot as I reposition them actually for a better look, and fluffs his shot, which is a bit frustrating. I was kind of expecting actually this guy to take the shot as these guys reposition further along the hedge, but it hasn't happened. And for the entire rest of this minute, he does not see anything. However, as you've just seen from the text spring up on this left-hand side here, our remaining Panzer, who is becoming the standout hero of the mission, has done 2 things. First of all, in taking this position, he has spotted an entire other company of American infantry defending this second objective, all tucked away along behind these hedgerows. We could probably have guessed that they were there, but it's still useful information. He does also spot the wounded Shermans that are still lurking in that field, and as we saw, after seeing them, decides to make sure they're out of action. Good job. I'm not too worried about M10s. They can't really see anything. They're not really causing me any problems, but it's infuriating that we haven't managed to finish them off. That's kind of what's happening up here. We seem to have essentially cleared out most of this objective. Yeah, our half-track's still taking sporadic machine gun fire from down here, but we have advanced a handful of infantry and the armoured car just to push any infantry out the end of the objective, which is somewhere around about here, I think, just where that step out is. So that's good, so we'll have that secured objective. And this chap, who I cannot wait to see how many kills he has another stupendous position, enfilading these American infantry. Only downside is he is really low on the old ammunition, so he's probably going to expend what he has and then call it a day. Now back into the centre, this is obviously our main thrust at the minute. I went a step further with the Panzers and actually deployed some smoke. I might just play this while we're chatting, to really give me, you know, exceptional cover as I remove my infantry forward, and that's done an absolute wonderful job. Unfortunately, it's hanging about for a little bit longer than I really hoped for, which is really going to cause us problems. If we go straight to time, if we don't go over time, then I think we're not going to finish clearing out here. I mean, we've pushed a lot of guys out. You can see some more breaking and running there. We've inflicted a large number of casualties, but they are definitely going to have a handful of people left over. Progress on this side is slow. Yeah, guys tend to get shot up as we try and approach it. This entrenched position is really good actually, and we've brought some fire from this side just to try and suppress them as we approach down at central. But it's costing a fair few lives. One unexpected has been the amount of Americans actually made it across. Looks like that could be a whole platoon has made it over here. And we actually have seen sporadic fire kind of coming back the way. So the tanks have been taking pot shots out here, and we have again moved some infantry over this hedgerow just to try and reduce the incoming fire here. But I think I've really probably pushed this too late to kind of kick all these guys out before time ends. But we'll see how it goes. You never know, you might get overtime in these things. So that's where we stand. Okay, however, we are running a reasonable length time for video, and I do want to finish this, and I want to spend a lot of time kind of chatting about the analysis afterwards, and I don't want to run this to a really long length, so I am going to call it a day right here. We're going to come back. In the next one, we'll do the last few minutes plus whatever added time we get, if we get any, and then I want to do a bit of analysis. So it might be a bit of a shorter one next, but I think rather that than trying to push this one excessively long and or rush myself, because I don't want to be doing that. So there we go. So yeah, I know other people are playing this style at the minute. By the sounds of it, they are doing a better job than I am. But yeah, so as ever, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, theories, etc. down below. And I will catch you all on the next one. Cheerio.